Hi everyone, I'm going to do lab 1 and I'm going to do live. I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to make plenty of mistakes and then I'm going to pick up on the mistakes and fix them, which is the best way to learn if you're asking me. So what I'm going to do in this session is I am going to go into Hyper-V and click into it and find exactly what's here in this list. Perfect. So I've got so this is Hyper-V, right? And just for those who would like to know a little bit more about this, Hyper-V actually is an interesting hypervisor. It's a Type 1 and a Type 2 hypervisor at the same time. So Type 1 hypervisor runs on bare metal, and a Type 2 runs on an operating system, and so you have an operating system there, and it runs on top of it as well. It's unique. So you can do both. You can run on pure bare metal, no operating system at all, and actually free, by the way. Or you can have like Windows 10 Professional Edition, Windows 11 Professional Edition, or like any type of server, like this machine here, and you can run it. It's really cool. So I've got all these machines here. What I want to do is I want to go over to, and I'm trying to find out which is a good hypervisor. Sorry, a good VM to look at. So I've got a router here. So we're using one of the Windows Server as a router. So there's two interface cards there. Just really quickly, if we go to right-click in Settings, you will see two network adapters, which is pretty cool. This is actually just over here. So we can use Windows Server routing services. You really wouldn't really do this in an enterprise environment or a business, but it works. Now, while we're here, let's have a look at the virtual switches while we're in this section, so I'll cancel that. So we've got the virtual switch manager, and that is where the magic happens for us here. Now, I think I've already set up one. So what this is saying is that imagine a real switch, a Cisco switch or a Netgear switch, whatever, and all your physical devices are connected to it. Well, we're going to virtualize this. So this is a switch here, and I can connect individual servers to that switch. So I can have a local LAN for each of these virtual machines. This is really common in today's day and age with virtualized technologies. Imagine the physical world and digitize it. So all that hardware, convert that into zeros and ones and put it in a server. Another word for it is I forgot. It will come back to me in a moment. But while we're doing that, what I did is I created the Croydon switch here. It's really easy. I just go over to, I just cancel out of that one, and I go to Virtual Switch Manager and create Virtual Switch, and I can create a new switch here if I want to. Really easy. So I'm going to call it the Harry switch, and I decide what type of switch it's going to be. If it's an internal network, it means that they will only be able to communicate with each other. If it's an external network, it means we can hook this up to the physical interface of the server machine. So there's plenty of options there. Now I've already created one for Croydon, so I'm just going to cancel that. But okay, so the next thing I want to have a look at, I want to have a look at the properties of a virtual machine. So if I go over to this server over here, I can right click and go to settings. There are some options on the right hand side as well as the settings over here. They both lead to the same areas. I can have a look at how much memory there is, how much RAM. I can look at the hard drive that we've got access to, the type of hard drive. If I expand that a bit, I can do things like quality of service. Also, you have processor and of course the networking adapter as well. I'm going to cancel this, and I can, if I right click this machine again, I can revert it back to an earlier checkpoint. So this is a great idea if you're just about to patch the system and you're worried that that patch might do some damage, or you're creating a script, or you're adding new software, or you're doing something that may impact your virtual machine negatively. Create a checkpoint, real easy, and it will do it in the background, and that's really quick. And then you do something to the virtual machine, you can then go back and revert. If you revert, it will, revert back in time. But you've got to be careful, because any new changes you've done, you lose them. On your own machine, like if you want to set hypervisor on your own machines, you will need Windows 10 Professional or Windows 11 Professional Edition. You can get them legitimately very cheap for about $6 or $7 Australian dollars. Come and ask me and I'll show you how to upgrade your Windows Home Editions to Windows Pro. If you need an outright license, just let me know. There's a few ways you can do that. You don't have to pay $200 for the recommended price. You can legitimately get it much cheaper than that. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is, so if we I've already shown you the network adapters. So say for example this virtual machine, if I right click and I go to settings, I can see that my network adapter is Hawthorne. So what about this machine, the next one? The settings for the virtual machine, that's also in Hawthorne. So I can build a mental picture that these switches are connected on the same LAN. Sorry, these virtual machines are connected on the same virtual LAN or LAN. Now I want to start one of these virtual machines. I'm going to pick server 3, right click, start. And then once that's starting, I'm going to right click again and I'm going to connect to it. So now I'm going to run this virtual machine. Not that much different than your VMware or your VirtualBox. But in my opinion, this is actually, I prefer this. I like this. Maybe because I'm biased because I did training on it, but I kind of like Hyper-V. And it's free. Again, if you have Windows 10 Professional Edition or Windows 11 Professional Edition, it's free. Why use VirtualBox? Why use VMware? This is going to be superior in your own performance. So that's running in the in the background. It's doing its thing. I'm going to put the password in, PA55W.RD, and that's going to be the standard passwords for pretty much everything, really, unless specified otherwise. We'll just wait for that to do its thing. So, you have to scroll around sometimes a bit. Next thing I want to do is I want to right click the start menu, and let's have a look. What should we look at first? No, you know what? I am going to do it my own way. So I'm just going to, I just want to see the IP configuration. I could click right click and then desktop, give it, but you know what? I'm just going to go to command. My favorite. I just jump in there. So it's a little bit slow, but and all I want to do is find out the IP address. I like to do //all, like a little bit more information. I wouldn't mind seeing what the MAC address is as well. IP version 6 and address. I know that this is a static IP address. How do I know that? Well, first of all, there's no DHCP for version 4 listed here, and I've got preferred. When you see preferred, that means that this is my preference, is for me to tell everyone that I have an IP address. Got the subnet mask as well. It's a class C address. If you ever get a 169 address, it means that DHCP is not working and it's not statically defined. Right, now I'm going to change the IP address on this one. There's a few ways we can do this. I can go to the dashboard here, which usually loads automatically. Let me just expand that a bit so I can get a bit more real estate there. Click local server over here. I can click here as well. Or maybe it won't let me. I've got a quicker way than this, but I'm looking at the lab guide. I have a much better preferred way of changing that. Oh, it worked. I clicked on that. This is my preferred way, by the way. This is what I wanted to do anyway. So right click the Ethernet and go to properties, and double click here. You can see that this is where the static IP configuration has been set. What I will do is I'm going to just change the IP address. 172 16.32.13 tab 255.255.0.0. Now that default gateway is not going to work now, so we should change that. The lab guide actually doesn't tell us to change the default gateway. I'm just looking ahead. Okay. So what's going to happen is we're going to revert it back to what it was before. Let me just do something here. Okay, fine. Go back here, and if we do the same IP config/all. I didn't okay that twice. That's a very common issue, by the way, forgetting to type enter again. And there you go, it's been changed. But that IP address is not going to work for us. We're going to right click and revert that back. I'm pretty sure most of you know how to do this already, but yeah, good practice. And of course the gateway. Actually, you know what I might do? I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to revert back to the earlier save. Just, you know. So if you look there, that's the changes. I've made a mistake. I've done something really bad and awful. I'm going to close that and go back to right click that server, and I'll click on revert, and I'm going to revert back to an earlier checkpoint. Right click, start, connect, and let's see what happens. Hopefully that it reverts back to the earlier configuration, and that IP address of the 192.168.100 has worked. Right, connect, and then yep, the password PA55 W.RD. There we go. And hopefully that will revert back to the earlier before I messed around with the configuration. CMD. A little bit slow, and I'm a bit impatient too, so. IP config. Yeah, and that's looking good. That's converted back to its earlier state. So that reversion worked. Outstanding, fantastic. So we're doing well here. Everything's working according to the plan. Not always the case. So I'm going to go to another lab. What I'll do actually, I'm going to not do the next lab now. I'll make a new video with a brand new lab. So we'll do it like lab 1, or I'll call it like lab 1, week 1 or something like that, or lab 2. I'll figure out the namings, but every week I'll have a separate lab done for you. And I'll publish these labs after I've given you some time to try and do it on your own. So I'll give you time to do the labs in your own time, and then later on in the week I'll have these ready for you. But in the meantime, I'll see you all in the next lab. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you soon.